Good morning, everyone, and good morning, Sir Jet. Today, I am going to open our group's discussion in Chapter 12, the Eukaryotes, focusing specifically on parasitic helminths and the phylum Nematoda. My co-reporters will step in later to discuss the remaining classes, which are the Cestodes and Trematodes. To guide our study based on our textbook reference, here are our core objectives. First, we will list distinguishing characteristic of parasitic helminths. Second, we will look at the rationale behind their elaborate life cycles. Third, we will explore the characteristic of parasitic nematodes, giving example of both infected eggs and infected larvae. And finally, we will compare and contrast platyhelminths with nematodes. What are helminths? Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a helminth? Helminths are multicellular, eukaryotic animals. Generally, free-living helminths possess fully functional digestive, circulatory, nervous, excretory, and reproductive systems. However, for our microbiology and parasitology focus, we are limiting our scope to the parasitic species that spend part or all of their life cycles inside humans. These parasites belong to the two primary phyla, platyhelminths, which are flatworms, and nematoda, which are roundworms. Because these worms live inside a host, they have evolved unique biological modifications that set them apart from their free-living relatives. First, their digestive system may be reduced or completely absent. They don't need to chew or break down food because they absorb pre-digested nutrients straight from the host fluids or tissues. Second, their nervous system is reduced. They live in a very stable, sheltered environment inside the host, so they don't need complex sensory organs to look for food or run from danger. Third, their locomotion is reduced or absent. They are passive passengers transferred from host to host. But look at point number 4. Their reproductive system is highly complex. To survive as a species, an individual parasite must produce astronomical numbers of eggs so that at least a few manage to find and infect a new host. The helminth life cycle. This brings us to their complex life cycles, which often involve a succession of hosts. The developmental larval stage happens inside an intermediate host, while the mature adult parasite reproduces inside the definitive host. In terms of how they reproduce, adult helminths can be dioecious, meaning separate male and female worms must be present in the same host to mate. Or they can be monoecious or hermaphroditic, where a single worm possesses both male and female organs, can fertilize itself or copulate with another worm. Now let's dive into my second assigned topic, the nematodes or roundworms. Structurally, these worms are cylindrical and tapered at both ends. Unlike some flatworms, nematodes have a complete digestive system, meaning they have a distinct mouth, intestine, and anus. Most nematodes are dioecious. The males are noticeably smaller than females and carry hardened structure called spicules on their tail ends to guide sperm during mating. Interestingly, some species can complete their entire life cycle from egg to adult within a single host. When looking at how nematodes infect humans, medical science divides them into two categories based on the stage of the worm that causes the infection. First, infections by infective eggs, and second is infections by infective larvae. Let's look at examples where the egg is the infective unit. First is Enterobius vermicularis, commonly known as the pinworm. It spends its entire life cycle in humans. The adult females crawl out to the perennial skin at night to lay eggs, which causes intense etching and spreads via contaminated beading or fingers. We diagnose this using the classic Graham sticky tape method. Another major example is Ascaris lumbricoides, a large roundworm infecting over a billion people globally. They live in small intestine, feed on our digestive food, and exhibit clear sexual dimorphism where the males have a distinctly curled tail. On the other hand, we have nematodes where the larval stage is infective. Hookworms, like Necator americanus, leave their eggs in feces, which then hatch into larvae in the soil. These larvae don't wait to be eaten. They actively bore and penetrate right through human skin, typically through bare feet. Another fascinating larval example is Dirophilaria emetis, or heartworm. This is primarily an animal parasite spread by mosquito vectors, where the adult worms settle right inside the host heart cavities, causing severe congestion. To wrap up my section and set the stage for my co-reporters, let's quickly contrast nematodes with platyhelminths. While platyhelminths are flat and lack a complete digestive tract, nematodes are round, have a complete running digestive tract, are mostly separate sexes, and frequently show distinct physical differences between males and females. In conclusion, parasitic helminths are master adapters to internal environments, and nematodes showcase diverse ways of infecting hosts through highly successful reproductive strategies. I will now pass the virtual floor to my co-reporters who will take you through the remaining classes of platyhelminths, the cestodes and trematodes. Thank you so much for listening, and I am open to any questions or clarifications you might have. Goodbye!